What up, what up, what up? What's up, Bo?
What's up, man?
I'm excited.
Welcome back to Doc Talk. We have a
yeah.
special guest today.
We have a very special
You always
guest
look
today.
so relaxed. Is that like your normal self?
Just relax.
I've never seen you stressed. You're always just like,
How long
chill
have we known
out.
him now? Like 7 years?
Yeah,
Yeah,
7, 8
6 or
years.
7
about
years?
7 years.
Well,
yeah.
his wife was the one who got me my house, your house.
Yep, exactly.
He's been a big part of Doc Talk. He kind of gave us the confidence to be able to like do something on
bro.
our own.
Yeah, he
it
was
was
over there
nice.
for us. So let's introduce him. Cesar Ruiz. One
Yes.
of our brothers, one of our really good friends.
One of the
and,
smartest people I've ever met in my life.
100% one
Honestly,
of the
not
smartest
just because you're
people
here.
If you keep going, I'm not going to walk out that door right there. I mean, you're going to
Your
have
head
to.
is already getting
You're already
heavy.
getting
We might
big,
need
huh?
some help, knock it out so I can get out. But
I love it,
no,
man.
man.
I think
Love you guys.
I think before we go on, instead of me sitting here and bullshitting, I think why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself. What do you do? Where you
Yeah.
from? And go for it.
Yeah,
Mike's
for
in your
sure.
hand.
So now, I'm from Venezuela, and I've been here as a typical immigrant, loving life, being an American, loving America, and got blessed with the opportunity to get into business, develop businesses. I've been considered a serial entrepreneur. I'm on my 8th business and just
Wow.
very blessed to
For you, bro.
learn a lot of lessons. I've had 5 fail dramatically. They just happen. Failure is failure, but you learn from every last one of them. So I'm not typically educated, so I learn from,
That's
trial and
amazing.
error. So when you think of business, I always think of it's okay to fail fast, learn as quickly as possible, rinse and repeat,
Got it.
never take more than 24 hours to sit on your sorrow, never celebrate for more than 24 hours, get back on the horse, keep grinding.
I love that.
Yeah, I love how he said
Yeah.
how like failed businesses, right? Like and he's like still, and he said it with confidence. It's like it's okay, we move
It's
on.
okay.
But he
Yeah.
said
It's
something
common, though.
that I
It's-
feel like it was way harder back then than it is now. I feel like people now, it's easier for somebody to say, I'm an entrepreneur without education. Like everywhere on the internet, everybody says
Yeah.
that, right? Hey, I don't have education, but I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a multimillionaire. You did it in a different time. You did it in a time, I feel like, where without education, nobody was looking at you. Nobody was hiring. That's why you did your own thing. That's why I respect you so much more. Like this new
but
generation doesn't
everybody
understand
fails.
that.
If you want to be an entrepreneur, you got to be okay with failure.
Yeah, I agree.
You've got to be okay to fail. Somebody in here that plays baseball that, if you bat 300, right, that means you fail 70% of the time. Well, consider that business.
Yeah.
So
That's
that
actually a good point.
when you come in with a concept, an idea, flush it out. Don't be afraid to write it out, build a good model. Make sure you have a good budget.
Yeah.
Make sure you understand your competition, your market share. Is there an opportunity? Opportunity is never just hanging out in the broad daylight.
I
It's just,
agree.
it has to be
I agree.
found.
And sometimes it knocks.
Yeah,
Right?
sometimes it
the
will.
opportunity knocks and it says, "Hey, listen, I'm here."
That's what happened to me.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
actually
That's what I was going to ask you. Like
It's
if
exactly what happened to me.
If somebody comes to you right now, this is
Yeah.
this is what I want to do because I feel like this is what's going to help the viewers.
Sure.
Because this is what helped me. I come to you. I want to start a business, right?
Right.
Remember the first time we sat down?
Yeah.
You came up with a perfect game plan. I've never seen anybody organize it like that.
Yeah, it was
Somebody
organized.
comes to you, and I'm only saying this because I feel like the internet, the young generation will benefit off of this.
Sure.
What do you suggest? Because you always talk about short-term, long-term goals, budget, like all of that. What would your recommendation be to a young entrepreneur that's getting into the game?
Be your own worst critic.
Okay.
Love
So
that.
get in there, take your business plan, really write it out, and just be your own worst critic. Go in there, make sure that you look at what you're putting in there and that you're not looking at it through rose-colored
Yeah.
lenses. Make sure that you're critical of yourself. Start your business with an actual concept that has real market share. So just because you like something, it doesn't mean it's going to be great. You've got to be able to recognize, how do you monetize it?
Yeah.
If you take into consideration, MySpace came before Facebook. They had the concept first, but they couldn't monetize
Yeah,
it.
they couldn't. Yep.
And because they couldn't monetize it, they don't
It
exist,
failed.
right? So
Yeah.
first to market isn't necessarily the most important thing. Is what makes you different and what value proposition can you generate that will create revenue in one way or another.
Yeah.
So they,
I agree.
they did advertisement, right?
Yeah.
Facebook, that's what they did.
Yep, Instagram. Well, you said it properly because a lot of these entrepreneurs, you either take something that's already established and make it better,
Yep.
or create something that doesn't exist, right?
Right.
So, and that's what it is. And that's what happened with MySpace. It was great initially, but
Absolutely.
there was no way to it didn't make money out of it.
If you
couldn't
can't monetize it,
So
then
it's the
you're
whole
just going to
point.
fail. You're just
Yeah,
going to
you're
lose
spending all
money.
this money,
You
know?
will lose
Yeah,
money.
exactly.
That's how it is. Like I feel like with everything, even this is random, but like even a singer, if you're on a singing competition and you go on there, you have two options. Either one, you're gonna sing a song that somebody already sang, and you have
Yeah.
to make it awesome,
Kill it.
better,
Yeah, exactly.
or you have to do an original, but it's a risk. risk. It's
Yeah.
100% risk.
It is.
So, and that's the same thing that you're talking about. Like, if you're going to do something different, you got to know that it's something that can be successful.
Yeah, yeah. It is very competitive. Like, this field is extremely competitive, and I know what you do, but I've always loved what you've done, and I think that a lot of our listeners need to know and understand what it is exactly that
All
you
right,
do, because
so-
anybody can be an entrepreneur.
No,
and
no,
I'm-
you're right.
I'm an
I'm a
entrepreneur.
businessman,
Yeah.
you know?
I agree.
What do you do?
So 20 years ago, I started writing grants. You know, basically came into a small organization where my job was to go write a grant, typically county or state or federal. The responsibility is to identify the opportunity to either train, certify, or upskill an existing workforce. So I would write the grant utilizing unemployment tax dollars on a 941. So if you have a W-2 employee, you're paying a 941 tax.
Yeah.
So a portion of that unemployment tax comes right back. So it comes back for two key reasons. One, how can we train and upskill so that you can diversify your workforce so that if you go through a dip, you're diversified enough so that you don't have to lay people off.
Yeah.
So what can we use those dollars for to diversify, train, and upskill so you never have to lay off? If anything, how do we increase your profitability by providing skill sets that will make your workforce that more efficient? How do you get rid of waste, rework, inefficiency, manufacturing scrap, right? All those type of things. And then it just evolved from there. Got really lucky. Again, I consider myself to be super lucky, and got into an opportunity where when Verizon put together FiOS here locally.
This is cool.
So we came up with a methodology to basically get those individuals trained and certified. That's how I got into telecom back in 2008. From 2008 to 2014, it was fiber, 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 fiber to the prem, fiber to the curb, fiber to the home. And then here in 2019, I got lucky again.
That was the best.
You're old.
In
Yeah.
2019,
To take you to Vegas.
I was really blessed. And long story short, figured out that men and women needed to climb towers so that our cell phones would work. There's no fairy with pixie dust saying, hey, you know, here's your 5G network. No, some brave man or woman has to go climb a tower, multiple hundreds of feet in the air, and you'll see them everywhere.
Yeah.
Or get on the side of a building and hang that antenna, that RF receiver, and somehow take the spectrum for each of the carriers and just ensure that when you take a picture of your meal tonight and you send it, that the rest of us get to see it.
That's awesome.
That's not pixie dust.
Yeah, for sure.
And in a short window of time, from 2019 to present, we've now become the largest 5G telecommunication institution in the country.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
We
That's
graduate
amazing.
over 1,000 tower technicians every year.
That's
Yes.
amazing. That's
Now
amazing.
we
And you have
added
schools all
fiber.
over, don't you?
Well,
Tell us
here-
about the school.
here-
I
here
feel
in
like that was
Tampa.
one of the cool things, the school
Well,
itself.
Man, it's the mission. It's the mission. It's
Yeah.
taking men and women that maybe were not willing and able to go to school. Not everyone's meant to go to college, right? So,
Agree.
but everyone should have the opportunity at middle class jobs.
Yeah.
Agreed.
At least the very beginning. So imagine that we take 70% of our veterans, student population are veterans.
That's
So when
amazing.
they come to Learning Alliance, they come to Learning Alliance to basically gain a skill, a competency, to be placed with one of our 480 employers nationwide, to go right into the middle class, making roughly around $25 an hour after just a 5-week program.
That's amazing.
amazing.
Now it's boot camp.
Yeah.
These guys come in.
Bam.
I've got them housed in a
Nice.
some dorms.
Yep.
They get picked up at 0700. They show up 12 hours a day, 6 days a week,
Nice. Is that paid?
unpaid.
Unpaid. Wow.
Yeah, well, if you're gonna get-
Unpaid.
I mean, man,
So-
think about the medical assistants that go to school and
Yeah.
work and all this and
Yeah.
barely make 16,
Yeah.
17. They're making $25 an
25.
hour.
Yeah, so right
Right
after.
Just
out.
when they
right
graduate.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But here's the
amazing.
key: 38% of my graduates become elite, so they
Wow.
get promoted historically twice within the first year.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Okay.
Which means they already understand, okay, if you graduate from Learning Alliance, I know that you know what a 12-hour day looks like. You know, 6 days a week are real. That's real. You are not afraid of the climate. You're not afraid of the heights. And you're not afraid of working a team, a unit, which for a lot of our veterans, which is 70% of my population,
Wow.
It's a-
70% are veterans?
70%.
That's
Our
amazing.
crew.
Huge, right?
Those are great men and women that maybe came from an MOS that is not quite transferable.
Yeah.
So we give them an opportunity to take those skills,
Yeah.
that discipline, and we provide sustainable discipline.
That makes sense. Well, how is the risk high?
The risk is,
Right.
there is high.
Where do they train?
They train here in Tampa.
That's
Here in
amazing.
Tampa, we have a location that we just opened in Dallas, and we're hoping to finish our acquisition in Seattle, and we'll have all both
Nice.
coasts and central.
That's why you're always in
Central
Seattle.
US.
I'm wondering why.
Yes.
I'm in Seattle. I'm
These
in Seattle.
acquisitions
It's like-
don't happen overnight.
I
I've been,
know,
working-
yeah.
I've been working on
You
it
do
for
work a
9
lot.
months.
Way too
That's
much.
another thing. I think people assume I'm entrepreneur. I make good money. My business is booming. I'm buying Lamborghinis. You've been driving the same car since I met you.
I love
You
my
work
car.
every single day. The only time
do.
you take off is for fantasy football.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Or family.
That's the only time I ever see
family,
family event.
vacations,
Yeah.
fantasy
Or Brenda
football.
Fantasy
calls.
football,
Or Brenda.
family.
Yeah.
baby. yo, Brenda's on his ass like, where you
Oh,
at?
yeah.
Are you coming? No, we made a deal. We're having a date tonight. He's like, oh,
Yes.
I'm coming.
That's right.
I love Brenda. Shout out to Brenda. She's amazing. She's the one who
amazing.
helped you
Brenda.
also.
Incredible woman.
Yes,
very, very
man.
lucky.
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
will tell you, that all comes at a cost.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I'll tell you, I'm 46 years old, and you're my primary doctor.
Woo.
I mean, you are my dude.
Thanks, man. I
And
appreciate it.
you know darn well that, I mean, my health is, I look healthy. I look healthy, but my heart rate may not say that.
And, and sometimes you don't know how to stop. I feel like a good entrepreneur knows when to stop.
Yeah.
Because some people see the money coming in and they just want more and more and more. And they don't care who they burn in the process.
Yeah.
Their mother, their sisters, their family, their kids. They don't care as long as they're making that money.
Have you become more anxious lately, would you say?
I have. I will tell you that I've been working on this acquisition for 9 months because I want to make sure that men and women in that region in the Pacific, West Coast, that they don't have to come all the way over here. And it's a different technology. You don't climb towers 700-800 feet. Over there, it's bucket trucks.
Yeah.
It's super simple. Oh, it's a little too hot. Everybody get off the job site, get in shaded. It's just a different labor force and requirement.
completely.
So it's been a little tougher. The
Yeah.
Department of Education's been more difficult. The accreditation bodies has made it a lot
Oh, yeah.
harder. So the stress level has been a lot
Of
higher.
course.
Yeah.
Is it competitive in that area at all? Is
You
there
know,
something that exists in that area?
I will say that there are probably 9
Wow,
5G
okay.
institutions in the country.
That's not a
Okay.
lot.
It's not
in
a
the
lot.
country.
It's not a lot in the country.
In the country.
Wow.
True
Oh, yeah, that's
5G institutions that are solely dedicated to that.
Wow.
9, and of which, 3 really, they graduate maybe 100 a year.
Oh, okay.
That's
That's
amazing.
not
I
much.
mean,
You
we
get- you
do
graduate
we do
1,000.
we do
1,000.
we do in a month with most.
Doing a year.
Correct. However, this industry needs not
More.
that we need more. Absolutely.
more.
There's 20,000 openings right now, and I'm graduating 100 a month.
Wow.
There's a huge
That's
disparity.
huge.
Yeah, so there's
That's
a huge.
Correct.
What's
So
your long-term goal out of this? Like, what do you want to do?
Yeah. What's your vision? What do
What's
you
your
where do you
vision?
see this in like 5-10 years?
I would love the company to be employee owned.
Yeah.
I would
Love
love
that.
to be able to take it
awesome.
so that through this acquisition, we get a really solid multiplier.
Very good.
Spend about 5 more years truly developing it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in 7, recognize that I need a capital partner so that we can basically do further acquisitions, have a
Yeah.
center of excellence.
For sure, and expand.
We're going to have to raise $20 million for a campus.
Yeah.
There's
That's probably your best bet.
yeah. I mean,
for
in,
sure.
in Seattle, one of the main reasons why we're acquiring is because it's a 58,000 square foot campus.
Wow.
Wow.
Gorgeous campus.
Huge.
it is incredible.
58,000?
Yes, it's beautiful.
Wow.
We're in 20,000 here in Tampa. We need to be in about 80,000 square feet.
Yeah, same thing.
And we just got
Definitely.
we just got approved for renewable energy, so solar, wind.
Huge.
So now one of the key things is in Seattle, the company we're acquiring is a dive school because we just became approved as a wind renewable energy organization, and we want to go after some of the renewable energy grants that are available that are just, that's the way of the future federally. That's the way they want to go. So one of the goals is to make it so that someone can graduate from a underwater diving school that does underwater soldering and a lot of directional boring, but have the ability to then work in the offshore renewable energy wind farms so they can do top to bottom.
Oh, that's awesome.
complex.
And that is something that has not existed. It's a job code that does not exist on ONET.
Yeah, I could-
It's a great Department of Labor framework that allows someone to maybe go out there and only do 3 months in those farms out in the middle of nowhere, making $10,000 to $20,000.
huge.
Just no. I'm talking about if you do underwater, you could make $2,500 a day.
A day?
Yes.
That's
Good
insane.
money, man.
So it's incredible what they can
I'm
do. So
leaving
if you can do
medicine.
top to
Are
bottom.
you
I mean,
hiring by any chance?
Yeah.
we actually are.
Yeah.
We actually are. But no, it's the vision is to try to develop something that's a little more standard. In telecommunications, it's not a utility, so my goal is to support it through an apprenticeship program so that when they graduate from my 5-week program, which is a boot camp, that they go in, they can use my apprenticeship management system, my software, my virtual reality, my augmented reality. Listen, I have the ability for you on Oculus climb a tower.
I was going to tell you, well,
Hundreds
how is
of
AI
feet.
going to affect
Insane.
this?
AI is
That was my
huge.
next question.
We're doing
literally.
it. We're developing aggressively into AR. It's one of our top 3 line items in our CapEx.
Nice.
So
AI
hopefully
is going to be a big for you guys.
it is.
Yeah.
It's going to be massive. How can we make it available so that a high school kid that is at risk, that is historically going to be 70% male, 70% black or Hispanic, a minority, right? And how do we give them the mechanism to realize, dude, you don't have to go to college.
Yeah.
If you're not built for that, or maybe you're an ANSI learner and you're typical
You're
young man.
hands-on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're more of a hands-on
Right,
person.
because think about it. Education has not evolved in 100 years.
It is 100%. We're
Which is
stuck in
nonsense.
1904.
I honestly don't like the education system.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
think it's
horrible.
right.
So
It's
what
horrible.
happens? So you have to basically drug a kid who has ADD, that is a kinetic learner, so that he or she can gain the necessary skills being doped with what retention ratio that can then be transferable.
Yeah.
It does not work.
No.
And
Doesn't
until
make
we
any sense.
recognize that the Department of Ed needs to be scrapped and redone, and until we
fully.
realize that apprenticeships, that trades are real.
At this stage, whether you're graduating high school, going into college,
Not just as an entrepreneur, like I
and it
asked
does- you don't
earlier.
have to be an
Yeah.
entrepreneur because a lot of people have different goals. Is there any advice that you would give them that you absolutely need to do something specifically before you move on, before you go for your goals?
I personally believe that, you know, my daughters, I've got
Yeah.
The best.
2
I
young
love them.
ladies,
Amazing.
right?
I
Beautiful.
love them.
So the advice that I gave them is don't be afraid to fail. Do not allow paralysis by analysis to dictate your future.
Love that.
Truly try to consider the fact that the true definition of failure is not trying. If you fear failure that much, therefore you don't try, it's very hard to be an entrepreneur. You have to be okay with eating that every single day.
Yeah.
For all young men and women, it's okay. You're in a gig economy where you can actually leverage other countries and other resources so that if you want to build an app or something, there's great gig economy platforms that allow you to get skilled workforce in third-party countries that allows you to really minimize
That's a
your
good
risk,
point.
Yeah, for sure.
which
Yeah.
is very, very
And a third of the
valuable.
price.
Right?
For a
Do
third.
not be afraid to go get a mentor. I highly suggest go get a mentor, someone that's 20 years senior of you,
Yeah.
or someone from that industry. Even a competitor. Do not be afraid to go to a competitor.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, reach
learn,
out, for sure.
learn,
For
because
sure, man.
look, anyone that ever went off on their own, they historically started under somebody else's organization,
Yeah.
learned a skill or a trade or a concept. They fell in love with it.
Yep.
And then they basically went out there and said, I can do it better.
Better.
And
Yeah,
that's,
For sure. Found a deficiency.
hey, that's
Yep.
the American
Learn.
dream.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really is.
It
really is.
It is. If you can do it better,
Yeah. I
make it
agree.
competitive. That's
Yeah.
what allows organizations to start at
For sure,
any given moment. And remember, with 5G and the expansion of bandwidth, you're going to have access to technologies that you've never seen before.
Yeah.
Robotics, AI will really become
Huge,
real.
huge.
So what can that do for you? I mean, how can you allow that to build innovation amongst your own brain and your own ideas? And are you surrounded by good people?
Yeah, for sure. That's
Do you have
huge. I
people
think
that are
that's
willing to listen to you and provide you constructive?
constructive criticism,
Yes,
advice?
never
for sure.
destructive. If someone's destructive to you,
Yeah.
you need to bounce them
Move.
off of your
Get 'em out of your life.
circle of influence.
I agree.
But to the youth, stay true, stay positive, and go get it because the opportunity is now.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
bro.
Yeah.
Bro,
Cesar, we
absolutely
got to have you
fantastic.
again. I'm sure all the guests are going to want you on again. So
Anytime.
bro.
that was
I am
great
here.
information. Thank you so much,
Best,
man.
bro.
I'm here.
God bless you.
Anytime.
And I love you.
Bless
We love you
guys.
so
bro.
much, brother.
Thank
Love you guys.
That was awesome, dude.